بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونشكره ونستعين به ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فهو المهتد ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له خلق فسوى وقدر فهدى وأخرج المرعى وأشهد أن نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين أشهد أنه أدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وفك الغمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وأنعم على حبيبنا وإمامنا المصطفى الأمين وعلى آله وأصحابه الطيبين الطاهرين وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله ألا وهو القرآن الكريم وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ألا وهو في سنته النبوية الشريفة كما أن شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار أعاذنا الله وإياكم من النار. قد وصاكم الله سبحانه وتعالى وصية خصصها للأولين والآخرين لجميع الناس ولأهل الكتاب كذلك، حيث أنه قال: ولقد وصينا الذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبلكم وإياكم أن اتقوا الله. فتقوى الله إخوة الإسلام والإيمان هي رأس الحكمة. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يجعلنا وإياكم من المتقين. All praise are due to Allah. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and ask Him forgiveness from the evil deeds that we do every day and the evil deeds that our nafs ask us to do. Verily, whomever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want to bring to this path, want to guide to this path, none shall lead astray. And whomever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want to lead astray, none shall guide to this path. Indeed, there is nothing else worthy of worship except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created all things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you from nothing, has created this whole earth from nothing. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the last prophet and last messenger. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send His prayer and salutation upon him. He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has came to guide us from the darkness to the light. He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as well has came to ease up our life on this dunya and in the hereafter. He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as well has committed strife for jihad for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the way until his death came upon him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Indeed, brothers and sisters, the best of talks or the best of books is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the word of the Quran. And the best of guidance is the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which embodies his sunnah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And anything that you bring to this deen, anything that you bring to this Islam without proof from the Quran or the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it may be considered bid'ah. And bid'ah will lead you astray, and if you led astray, you may be led to hellfire. Wal'iyadu billah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us and protect you from the hellfire. As well as the best of advice that anybody could give you is to revere Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has advised all humanity from the creation, from the Adam alayhi salatu wasalam all the way until the end. He has advised them to have revere or to revere Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be conscious of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, indeed we have advised those people of the book that came before you and you as well to revere Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran in Surah Al-Kahf, فوجد عبدا من عبادنا آتيناه رحمة من عندنا وعلمناه من لدنا علما. This is a verse in Surah Al-Kahf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, and they found a slave from amongst our slaves. And this slave is mentioned here because we have given him mercy and we have taught him a knowledge from us, meaning from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is a verse in the story of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam with the Khidr. Indeed, Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, as is mentioned in Hadith al-Bukhari, that he one day was asked who is the most knowledgeable on earth. And he said, me. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to teach him a lesson about knowledge itself. And he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him on this journey with his companion. And then Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was so in love with knowledge that he told his servant or his student, he said, لا أبرح حتى أبلغ مجمع البحرين أو أمضي حقوبة. I will not stop until I get to the place where I'm supposed to meet this man with knowledge, or I'll spend all my life doing this, as many years as possible. Not only he is seeking knowledge, but he is teaching his student to seek knowledge. Now I want to take you back a little bit to remind you that Musa alayhi salatu wasalam was given the book, the Torah. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابِ. Indeed, we have given Musa the book. We have given him the knowledge. But now he's seeking another knowledge. This is to show you that nobody has the whole knowledge except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala heard Musa alayhi salatu wasalam saying that I am the most knowledgeable, he wanted to show him something. He wanted to give him a lesson. Not only to him, but even to us. So as the story goes, Musa and his student, went and found this man. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this man, he said, فَوَجَدَ عَبْدًا مِنْ عِبَادِنَا. They found a slave from amongst our slaves. Those who know the story, they know how much knowledge this man had. The Quran did not mention his name, but in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the long hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, he mentioned his name as being Al-Khidr. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looked at this man as a slave, as if to tell us, no matter how much knowledge you get, no matter how much knowledge you get, you can be at the level of Prophet, or you can be at the level of Al-Khidr, you are a slave. Especially nowadays when we look at the word slave and we look at it as degrading. But it's actually in our deen to be a slave of Allah is an honor. Sometimes you learn a verse of the Quran, or you know the meaning of a verse of the Quran, or you memorize some of the Quran, you think you made it. And you start acting like you're too good to be talked to. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you here, this is Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, we're giving him the book. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked directly to Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, and he still was sent on this journey to learn. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he gives you a knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't care how much knowledge you have. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cares about what do you do with this knowledge. If you memorize the Quran, what do you do with it? If you memorize a hadith, one hadith, are you using it in your daily life? Or are you just acting? Very important lesson in here. Then Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, when he found the man, he said, هَلْ أَتَّبِعُكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُعَلِّمَنِي مِمَّا عُلِّمْتَ رُشْدًا. May I follow you? He didn't say, let's just sit down and open up the book and let's learn. He said, no, can I follow you? May I follow you? I want to walk with you. I want to take the steps you take every day. I want to see what you see every day. I want to see how you react to different situations. So that maybe you could teach me some of the stuff that you have learned. And maybe some of the stuff you have learned could guide me. This is mind-boggling. Musa, who talked to Allah, he wants guidance from this man. He doesn't even know this man. Nowadays, you want to make sure that you go get knowledge from UC Davis. I don't know what kind of education you get at UC Davis, but I hope it's worth the money you pay. But you don't really know what you're getting before you go. And I'm not bagging on UC Davis or anything. It's an example. Don't take it personal. But the knowledge you get, you don't know how it came to be to you right there from that teacher or that scholar or that knowledgeable person that is teaching you that knowledge. But Musa alayhi salatu wasalam had so much knowledge and he's still so humble that he said, maybe I'll be guided by something you tell me. Now you know sometimes you come to the masjid and if you're a local to this masjid and you know everybody that comes pray during the day, you'll say assalamu alaikum to them. But if you see somebody who really comes to the masjid, how many people would approach him or her? I'm not going to answer that question. So now Musa said, hey, let me follow you. Maybe I'll get guided. You know what he told him? He didn't say maybe. He said, إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِي صَبْرًا. He said, indeed, you will not have enough patience to hang out with me. And don't take it the wrong way. Don't take it like he said it because he was arrogant. No. He knew, he understood that the knowledge he had, the knowledge that Khidr had, Musa didn't have. Because you could be a scholar in Deen, but if we take you to mechanical engineering in the department here in UC Davis, and we ask you to give us a lecture, are you going to be able to talk about mechanical engineering if you haven't studied it? Because it's two different knowledge. You may have some knowledge, but you don't have all the knowledge. So here Al-Khidr said, Musa, hey, the only prerequisite today is you got to have patience. Now Musa, you know what Musa went through with Fir'aun. You know what Musa went through. Fir'aun was trying to kill Musa and his people. And when they were crossing the Red Sea, his people, Banu Israel, told him, no, this is the end. Inna la mudrakun. They told him, this is the end. Musa, Fir'aun and his people will kill us. What did Musa say? Look at the patience. Inna ma'iya rabbi sayyidin. No. Do not worry. Allah is with me and He'll help me. Now you understand how much patience Musa has? Now the easiest part here is going to go, look, Khidr, man, you know me. This is Musa you're talking to, bro. I've been with Fir'aun. I've dealt with him, put him in his place. I went through the desert 40 days. Couldn't find nothing to eat or drink. Come on, man. You're talking about patience? No. This is not the etiquette of a prophet. Musa said, سَتَجِدُنِي إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ صَابِرًا. If Allah wills, you'll find me patient. وَلَا أَعْصِي لَكَ أَمْرًا. I will not disobey you. So they went together. They got into this ship, giving him a ride from one side to the other. And then when Khidr was getting out of the ship, he put holes in the ship. Now you know how Musa is. Musa is all about al-amr bil ma'ruf wa nahy anil munkar. There is no other way. If you do something wrong, Musa will put you out. He said, أَخَرَقْتَهَا لِتُغْرِقَ أَهْلَهَا? Did you put a hole in it so people in there could drown? This is impossible. This is unbelievable. They gave us a ride for free. They took us in the ship. Look what you're doing. Now look at the teacher. He said, قال ألم أقل لك إنك لن تستطيع معي صبرا. Did I tell you don't have the patience for this? He put him back in his place. Then he said, Musa said, I forgot. This is the first time I forgot, give me a break. Then they moved on. But before we moved on in the hadith of the Bukhari, the Prophet ﷺ said they were sitting on the ship and they saw a bird drinking from the water, and a drop from the beak of the bird came down to the water. And then Al-Khidr told Musa, he said, your knowledge and my knowledge and the knowledge of all humanity is like that drop from the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I want you to understand the magnitude of this. Those that think that they got PhDs and masters and bachelors, or you have you know, you went and studied in Medina, the Islamic school, or Azhar in Islamic school, or any of that stuff. I want you to think about that. I want you to imagine your knowledge comparing to the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they moved on. Then they found the young man and they killed him, and you know, Al-Khidr killed him, and what do you expect Musa is going to do? He said, did you kill a person that has nothing, didn't do anything wrong? This is a pure life, you killed it. This is impossible, this is munkar. Unbelievable. Al-Khidr said, again, did I tell you you're not going to have patience for this? And then look how Musa limited himself. He said, إن سألتك عن شيء بعدها فلا تصاحب. I understand, I made a mistake again. If I ask you again about something else, then that's it, we're done. And the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith said, if Musa were patient with Al-Khidr, we could have learned a lot from Al-Khidr. But alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed this. So they went on, they came into this nice village or town or whatever you want to call it, and they asked for food and shelter, and they said no. In fact, some narrations stated that they didn't even want to talk to them. And then they walked through the city and they found a wall that is broken. And then Al-Khidr started, he stopped and he started fixing the wall. And then Musa lost it again. He said, you could have asked them to pay you for making this wall. Look at this, good. And then the teacher was like, هذا فراق بيني وبينك. This is the end. I can't, we're done. But don't worry, I will do you another favor. I will explain to you what you have not been able to be patient on. He said, for the people on the ship, I put a hole in it because it was a king that will be coming after them. And every time this king see a boat or a ship that is nice and clean, he will take it by force. So when those people got to wherever they need to get, there was a hole in the boat. And somehow they patch it, whatever. When the king comes to the ship, what did he say? No, man, we don't need this. This is going to get us in trouble. But Musa did not know this. If Musa knew this, would he be saying something to Khidr? I doubt it. He said, but the young man, he was, he had his parents, he was a bad kid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his infinite knowledge, he knew he's going to cause him so much harm and trouble. So it's better to, take care of him right there, and he's going to go to Jannah, it's better. Again, if Musa knew this, would he have commented? And then on the last one, the people at the Medina, I know they didn't want to feed us, but there was a couple of young men that their dad was a righteous man. He left them some money there in that wall. The wall was breaking. And if it broke, and the people of that Medina, of the city, if they found that money, do you think they're going to leave it alone? No, they're going to take it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want that wall to be built until those two kids will reach, their manhood, and they will find their money or their treasure there. And then at the end, this is very, very important. He said, this is not from me. What I'm explaining to you is not from me, it's from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَا فَعَلْتُهُ مِنْ أَمْرِي. This is not me. I was not the one that made the decision. I did not see beyond, except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me this knowledge. And this is very important. First of all, the number one lesson that we'll take from this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have taught Musa a lesson, these few lessons in the book. Wouldn't that be easier? Save the trouble, save going here and there. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided, He said, these are lessons you're not going to learn just by reading the book. Having patience on the plan of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is not something that you can give khutbahs like I'm doing right now to tell you to be patient of what has attained you, and I think I'm going to act the same way when it happens to me. No, it doesn't happen that way. You have to experience it. You have to think about, why is this happening to me? You have to say, why me? You will say it. But when you listen to the Quran, and when you look at the stories of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, you're going to see, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You're going to come back to Allah, and you're going to say, Allah decreed this. This gotta be good. The consequence gotta be good. But Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, even as a prophet, he didn't have that patience. But for us, we're not prophets. We're barely making our prayers. We barely constrain our prayers. We're not going to have patience when something bad happens to you. Especially the things that you have no control over. What do you react? How do you react? Put you either with the believers, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ, those who believe in the unseen, or those who don't believe in the unseen. Now maybe some of you will think, oh, it is trivial, you're making the killing of a kid a trivial thing. It's not a trivial thing. I'm not making it a trivial thing. In fact, a woman losing something that she has in her belly by miscarriage is not an easy thing to take care of. One of the toughest things you could ever go through as a woman. Am I saying this is trivial? No. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for sure, no doubt about it, He has a better plan. He knows you needed that at that time, at that place, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guarantees you there is a better consequence. This is the number one lesson you learn from these series of experiences that Musa and Al-Khidr had. No matter how bad things are. We look at the status of Muslims, and subhanAllah, everywhere you go nowadays, there's people suffering. You go to Yemen, you go to Iraq still, Syria still, kids are dying for no reason. The Uyghur people, they're putting them in concentration camps like they did to the Jews in Germany. Nobody's talking. Or if they're talking, they're hiding. And if they're hiding, they probably don't care. Now you're going to ask me, why, I'm here in America, I'm here in California, why should I worry about these people? You should worry about these people, because what is the difference between you and them? It could happen to us here. Something happens like 9/11, and then they're going to put all the Muslims in the concentration camps. Then what are you going to do? You're going to show them your US passport? No, they don't care. You don't think the Uyghur people have a Chinese passport? That's why you have to care. And indeed, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ease up the pressure on the believers. But at the same time, I guarantee you there is something good that's going to come out. Wallahi al-azim. And if I'm alive or dead, you'll understand. I cannot tell you now, because I don't have the knowledge of the unseen like Al-Khidr did. But I can guarantee you Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only decrees things that are good. If you cannot have a kid, or you're having a hard time having a kid, or even having a hard time getting married. I'm talking about kids, I'm talking to the youth here. You got to be patient. You got to work on your patience. I'm not going to tell you here this khutbah is going to make you a better patient person. No. This khutbah is only open up the door for you to learn more about how to be patient. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those who listen to the talk and take the best out of it. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us patience when it's really needed. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us perseverance at the time when affliction hits. And remind us of His plan, and it is the best plan. أقول ما تسمعون وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فيا توب المستغفر. الحمد لله وكفى وصلاة وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له الملك الأوفى وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله النبي المصطفى أما بعد. I'm going to give you one more lesson and then I'll get off here inshallah. The other lesson that you take from this series of experience will happen to each and every single one of us in this life. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about. In the first example, the people in the boat, they did a favor for Musa and Al-Khidr, and Musa and Al-Khidr put a hole in the boat. This experience will happen to you in life. You're going to do so much good for somebody, and then they're going to turn around and stab you in the back. I don't care where you come from. This does not discriminate, by the way. You're black, white, Japanese, Asian, doesn't matter. That's going to happen to you. And sometimes it happens from family, the closest people to you. It will happen. No matter how much you do for them, it's going to come one day, they're going to stab you in the back, and you're going to stand right there not understanding. But you're going to do the Musa. I'm going to alayhi salam. You're going to do the Musa. This can't happen. I want to remind you what Al-Khidr told him. إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِي صَبْرًا. You need patience for this. Come on, brother. Come on, sister. You need the patience for this. This will happen to you. The next one is the kid that was killed. Did he do anything wrong? Is he guilty of anything? Was he killed? Case in point. Those kids that live in Syria, in the concentration camps in Syria, I call them concentration camps as well. What did they do? What is the worst thing they did in their life to deserve what they have right now? And this will happen to you and me. You're going to go somewhere and you're going to come, somebody's going to come and hurt you with no reason whatsoever. It could be as easy as call you a terrorist. What happened? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Go back to your country. But I'm from here. No, you're not. This experience will happen to you in this life. And don't be like Musa alayhi salatu wasalam and go like, no, this is unbelievable. No, you can't do this. This is injustice. Let's go to court. إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِي صَبْرًا. You need patience for this. And the last one, sometimes you'll come and do something good. And then those people you did good to them, or that place you did good to them, they don't want to help you. It could be as easy as coming to the masjid and you're cleaning up and then somebody's like, what are you doing, man? What's wrong with you? Do you have a permit to clean? And you're like, what? You need a permit? This is unbelievable. But then I remind you, إِنَّكَ لَن تَسْتَطِيعَ مَعِي صَبْرًا. You have to have patience. You have to have patience. These circumstances will happen to you every single day. In your life, it will happen to you. Those who have kids, God forbid, it's going to happen to you. If you have a wife, it's going to happen to you. If you have a husband, it's going to happen to you. What do you need to do? Patience. Because when Allah decreed those things to happen to you, Allah in His infinite wisdom, He knows there's something good that's going to come out of it. Wallahi al-Azim, if you don't think nothing from this khutbah today, anything that happened to you in this life, Allah decreed it, something good will come out of it. That's it. That's the whole conclusion of the whole khutbah. If you were sleeping when I was talking, you didn't pay attention, that's fine. If you were on your phone, that's fine. That's beautiful. But now remember this. Anything that happened to you, any affliction that happened to you, that you have no control over, something good will come out of it. And I'll give you a small example and I'll stop inshallah. When somebody is attained with a sickness, and I'm not talking about you having a headache. I'm not talking about a fever. I'm not talking about, you got a cold. I'm talking about those sicknesses that affect your whole life. Your whole activities of daily living is affected. And you go to the doctor and the doctor said, hey man, I can give you some pain pills. You can take them. And then the doctor says, be patient. The Prophet ﷺ said in a beautiful hadith, he said, when a believer is attained with pain, even as low as a thorn. Now some of us that work with their hand, a thorn doesn't even bother you, man. You're like, oh yeah, let's move on. You ever seen those people that work in the garden, they don't even use gloves, and you're like, every time you work in the garden, you're using gloves, because now that's people that, but the Prophet said, even a thorn that give you pain, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive sins for you. But don't listen to this hadith and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give you pain. No, we don't want that. No. But I'm making a point. Anything that happens to you, you have no control over, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the consequence of it will be good. Guaranteed. If not in this dunya, in the hereafter. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وأنعم على سيدنا وحبيبنا المصطفى الأمين وعلى آله وأصحابه الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك اللهم فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت إنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت تبارك ربنا وتعاليت لك الحمد على ما أعطيت ولك الشكر على ما أوليت نستغفرك اللهم من جميع الذنوب والخطايا ونتوب إليك اللهم اقسم لنا من خشيتك ما تحول به بيننا وبين معصيتك ومن طاعتك ما تبلغنا به جنتك ومن اليقين ما تهون به علينا مصائب الدنيا ومتعنا اللهم بأسماعنا وأبصارنا وقواتنا ما أحيتنا واجعل الوارث منا اللهم اجعل ثأرنا على من ظلمنا وانصرنا على من عادانا اللهم لا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا اللهم لا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا اللهم لا تجعل مصيبتنا في ديننا اللهم لا تجعل الدنيا أكبر همنا ولا مبلغ علمنا ولا إلى النار مصيرنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين واجعل الجنة هي دارنا وقرارنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم كن مع إخواننا المسلمين في كل مكان في العراق وسوريا واليمن والصين وإخواننا الإيغور في الصين اللهم كن لهم يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم فرج عنهم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم فرج على كل مسلم ومسلمة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا واغفر لوالدينا وارحمهم اللهم اغفر لوالدينا وارحمهم اللهم اغفر لعلمائنا ومشايخنا وارحمهم اللهم اغفر لموتانا وموتى المسلمين وارحمهم اللهم وسع مدخلهم واكرم نزلهم واجعل قبورهم رياضا من رياض الجنة اللهم إن كانوا محسنين فزد في إحسانهم وإن كانوا غير ذلك فاغفر لهم وارحمهم وتجاوز عنهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا إذا صرنا إلى ما صاروا إليه تحت الجدادل وحدنا لا من يدعو لنا يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم اختم لنا بخاتمة خير اللهم اختم لنا بخاتمة السعادة أجمعين اللهم ادخلنا جنتك بدون سابقة عذاب ولا حساب يا أرحم الراحمين ونختم بالصلاة والسلام على من أرسل رحمة للعالمين سيدنا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة والتسليم إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم ولذكر الله أعلى وأجل وأقيموا الصلاة